Yakutova Vichats, you've reached the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We can't come to the phone right now, but if you leave your name, number, and a brief message, we'll be with you till the end of the line.
Hey, nice message. I'm calling because says my DoorDash was picked up by a James like 4 hours ago, and I still haven't gotten my food. I know you only got one arm, but it's been 4 hours, and I just watched Snyder Cut, and I still don't have my food. So get back to me. In the Jelanye, Travoy, Virna. I'm just playing, but please, I'm starving. Thanks.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Maganda Forever podcast. Today, we're going to be covering Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
Nice shirt.
Episode 1. Thanks, you too, man. That's clean.
Yeah, and the 4-hour Snyder Cut. God help
Oh my
us.
God, dude. What the hex is going on?
Wrote that time out.
Just kidding.
What did you guys think? I mean, I think we obviously know what we think of Snyder Cut. Did you guys like it?
It was long, unnecessarily long.
Yeah, dude.
I don't remember enough of the original to know where the differences are, but it was still funky in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Dude, we should probably cover that first because I'm not trying to do a 10-hour recap of a 4-hour movie.
This is the recap of the Snyder Cut. And that's it.
That's good. That's a good movie. I've seen that
That's
additional
great, dude.
2 hours in that. Yeah, man. The additional 2 hours was just slow-mo. I feel like they just slow-moed everything, and that's why it was an additional 2 hours. It's too much.
They really did, dude. I mean, I get it. Like, I did like it compared to the other one, but
Really? I gotta
Yeah,
say,
I-
like, oh my God, that was like the Good Friday masses of comic book movies. It was unnecessarily long. Like, I love Jesus, but God, this is taking too long. Let me get out of here.
I mean, compared to the other one, I did like it a lot, but it wasn't like a super good movie. There were still a lot of things that like I didn't like, but comparing a lot of the things that just were left out and just his vision of it, I did like it compared to the Justice League is what I've seen.
Justice. As soon
Yeah.
as I seen that 4:3 aspect ratio, I was just like, all right, come on. 2 bars. I was like, okay, all right, let's give this a chance. All right.
I mean, right away there were some things that made me laugh, like just straight up in the intro, like.
Should we do a quick recap? How do we even do a recap? Because you can't.
I know. I was trying to think of that too.
I'm trying to. I think the best way to. I don't know. I think most people saw the original Justice League. I guess we can assume that. I guess we can go over what's different, what they added. I don't know if
That's
you've
the
seen
thing.
the original.
I saw the original, but so long ago, I really don't remember the details of it. So a lot of the things I wrote down for like things that were weird with this were just like plot points where I was like, all right.
Okay, so here, the original is basically Batman's trying to gather the team so that they can fight Steppenwolf, who's gathering the 3 mother boxes so he can claim this world for Darkseid. And then eventually Batman realizes that the Justice League aren't enough, so they resurrect Superman. They have a brief fight among each other, and then Superman turns the tide against Steppenwolf. And then that's it. Now, the new cut, they add so many different subplots. So what I liked about the Snyder Cut is that they added backstory for each of the heroes. But again,
Yes.
I feel like if DC was more invested in their universe, they wouldn't have had to do that because they would have individual movies to pull from.
To support it.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree.
that's why they were kind of handicapped from the get-go. Like in order for it
Yeah.
to have some weight to it, they had to add origin stories for each character. And I feel like that's an additional like 15 to 20 minutes per character. And then, but it was all good stuff. Like I really liked, they didn't have any cyborg backstory in the original.
Yeah, that's one of the main things that I wrote down that I liked was because the whole thing with Ray Fisher and his kind of beef with everybody, it makes sense why he was so upset because there was so much footage and I feel like so much.
But at the
footage that
same
was
time, this
out.
guy was beefing like he was Superman. Like, dude, they will replace. They will Terrence Howard your ass. What are you talking about?
Next time, baby.
It says in my contract, next time, baby. Like, I don't.
I did for parts of his backstory though, I found some things that were a little odd. Whereas, like, you know how it showed him like slow motion doing that really awesome touchdown? I was like, was that really a touchdown? Because I feel like the ball fell out of his hand early.
Wow, ref.
Oh,
What a ref.
wow. Okay. All
What
right.
a ref.
All right. Time out. She was doing
Damn,
sports
dude.
analysis
I know, dude.
in a superhero
I wasn't
movie.
even going there.
Jeez. She's like, was that a first down? Let's analyze. What are you even talking
You
about?
get this. You get this. But it was other things where I was like hacking into the school system to help someone in need. But I was like, there are other ways you could help them that's not illegal. Like,
It's like, your son blew up the principal's office with his arms.
but what did you do for that student? Like, I get there's
He killed all the staff. What?
I get there are students in need and they're not getting enough support, but I was like, for real? Like, I don't know. It was just weird. But
Yeah.
So yeah,
a
so
lot of
they added a hero backstory, and then they completely added Dark Side.
Mhm.
Like, his entire subplot was not exist. You don't even see him. He's not even. I
Yeah.
think he's mentioned like once by name, like directly. That's
Yeah.
about it in the Justice League. But in this
Mhm.
one, he's like present in the late second to third and fourth and fifth and sixth and seventh acts of this movie.
what were the chapters really necessary? Like,
No,
just
it
go
wasn't.
into it.
I feel like I was gonna see Brad
Yeah.
Pitt, grazie, buongiorno. I was like, what is this? Inglorious Bastards? You're not artistic enough to do this.
You know what?
It's like
I
he's taking it
actually-
from the script notes. Like,
I kind of liked it though. It of course it was too long, but I did kind of like it because it gave me kind of like Watchmen vibes, which makes sense, right? Because Zack Snyder did Watchmen, right?
He did, and the more that I see of his work, I'm seeing that Watchmen was a fluke. Like,
What?
that was the one off. That's the good movie that he did. Everything else is
fair.
the real
Okay.
Zack Snyder. Like, when you look at
Mm,
Watchmen as a whole, the reason it succeeded is because it copied the source material word for word, scene for scene, panel for panel.
except for
And,
that.
Yeah.
I actually think Zack Snyder did something rare, which is he made me like the comic book movie more than the source material with Watchmen.
Interesting.
Because, like, at the end, the whole
actually, the
alien,
ending, yeah.
the
Yeah,
alien
I agree.
invasion was really convoluted in the comic
Yeah,
book.
I
and
agree.
I like that it was Dr. Manhattan. It was more cohesive and like
Yeah.
concise. But like everything since has been like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why?
Okay.
This is unnecessary. Like,
Mm,
there are certain parts that I liked about the Justice League. I mean, I like that we got to spoilers. We got to see Joker at the end. Like, that was kind of cool.
That whole scene though was
It was odd.
unnecessary.
It was unnecessary
Yeah.
and odd, but I'm always for fan service. I don't know what it is. Like, I think I can excuse poorly written scenes
I feel like if you
and
wanted
usage of characters just to see them. I don't know. Sometimes I
Yes.
can let it pass, even though it like a lot of it was just poorly written.
I
poorly
liked how
planned,
he-
unnecessary.
I liked how he looked better than the original. Like,
Oh yeah, they got rid of his stupid face.
He got
tattoos.
rid of the
stupid
tattoos, man.
And the- and the
There's
gold
scars
teeth.
now.
I like that his mouth looked like he was sucking blood. That was kind of cool.
It looked like he had
he was eating an
given
otter pop right before, dude.
it looked like he had given like
That's
a
what it
BJ or
was.
something. It's just lipstick everywhere.
He flagged down the ice cream. He flagged down the ice cream man. Stop! Oh. But yeah, like it was weird. You could tell that this movie was like done post. A lot of
I
it was
have to ask-
disjointed.
I don't remember. Again, I don't remember a lot about the Justice one, but did we see Jean in the original, or is
See,
all the
we did
Martian
not.
stuff added?
No, so
No.
that's another thing that wasn't added. His entire like part in it, which is another thing that was weirdly executed. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of
I
these-
think so too.
a lot of these scenes, you can definitely tell they were like shoehorned in. The Joker
Well-
part at the end, where he's just like, "All right, we can go over it. Do you want to do the recap? I think you're better than I am."
I mean, you gave a pretty accurate recap, but I was just thinking of
It wasn't a
the things
recap. It
that-
was kind of just a summary, but we can. Okay, so
Summary's fine. It's long. Like,
we'll do the recap of the new parts. How about that? So
Like from the beginning.
all right, I'm trying to think of what I could have done. The less Barry, the better. I feel like they need to cut out. I don't
Yeah,
like the
I feel
character.
like they
the
tried-
it's the casting and the writing is weird. I think the way he executes the lines is also weird. I don't like Ezra Miller as Flash. He's just odd.
I think the odd part for me was they're trying to capture both the charm of Tom Holland and his like comedic timing and the quirkiness of the Quicksilver from the Sony movies. Like they tried to put it in one thing. Like when he was saving that girl and he like took the hot dog, I was like, this is unnecessary.
That was
And like
that was Iris Allen, right, Vince? I'm not too keen
that
on
was
Flash lore.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right,
that was Iris Allen, and I believe they also have her for the movie too, the individual Flash movie.
I mean, it makes sense that it's Iris, but like, yeah, I don't know, a lot of it, he's so underutilized where it's like, get the hostages out, and then he's just running up the stairs like, move, like pick their asses up and get them out there.
Yeah. So what was I gonna say? Yeah, I don't like. He's not the reason I don't like him is because you brought up Tom Holland. The reason he works is because he is playing Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Like Ezra Miller is playing some weird, quirky version of Barry Allen. He's more like Wally Westish.
More like
I
Wally.
never liked that casting.
But even then, Wally wasn't like fidgety, like quirky. He was more like a smart ass, kind of like.
Well, that's why I feel
cavalier about stuff. He wasn't really like twitchy and stuff. I don't like this iteration of Flash.
Yeah. Well, I wonder.
I think more accurately, he would probably more resemble Impulse. Impulse was kind of like fidgety and like really like jittery. He was kind of like that. So
I was wondering if those
and he physically resembles him more than whatever Flashes we have in the comics. But yeah.
I was wondering if it was more of a stylistic choice because they're like, well, Spider-Man worked and then Quicksilver worked. Let's just put them together in one personality. Like, it was weird.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't really like the casting of Ezra Miller, and I'm kind of a little biased because of the Flash show. So I do like Grant Gustin. And
from what I've seen, I would take Grant Gustin too. Like, I mean, his portrayal was kind of spot on for Barry Allen, from what I understand.
Yeah, but I think they could have had better actors than Ezra Miller.
A lot of it falls to the archetypes too of what makes a team work. They kind of need that wisecracky aspect of the team. I think a better way to go with it would have been to have like the traditional Barry, and then instead of Cyborg, have Hal Jordan. I know it would be another white guy in a role. It would kind of get rid of Cyborg, the minority, but he's kind of more like he's like really like cavalier and like brash, and his demeanor and his disposition would have fit better with the team, I feel like. But then it is kind of tough. Like, that's a lot of white people in the cast. I would have feel like, okay, it's another white dude. But I like what they added about Cyborg. It was kind of dope. I really liked the scene where he like gave that woman the money. I really like that. That was,
I like the way that they depicted how his kind of mind works, and like the way that he
he's still like his human
operates, and he still is. Like, I thought that was cool. I never thought that they could do that in that direction, if that makes sense. Like, I thought
they never delved fully. Like, they didn't really give much background or expand on the potential of his powers in the Justice League cut.
Yeah,
it was kind of just like, oh, I'm a robot, I can tap
into.
He was.
I would say he's pretty much like the breakout star in this. Like, I feel like there's a lot more. Like, he was kind of the main focus in his arc and character development than the other heroes.
They did a lot more with his character. They did a lot more with his character, and even visually, they did. Like, in the original, like, you didn't see as much CGI. Like, he didn't have all those. It looks cool when he flies, all those jets that come out of him. That was dope. In the original, he flew mostly like Iron Man. It was like foot boots and then repulsors. But then, like, this one, it was like all over the place. It was like, it really distinguished him from everybody else, like, visually and like cinematically, which I liked.
This one, I feel like it looked and felt more like the comics, because he does have more of those like side things, doesn't he?
Yeah.
In more of his design. But I was jokingly nitpicking about the whole like football thing, but like some parts of it where it was like, I get a grieving father not wanting to lose his family and like wanting to bring his son back, but just the dialogue of like, you can launch nuclear things if you feel like it. Like,
I like that part.
This is your responsibility. I mean, like, I guess it does show how powerful he is in a concise manner, but I was like, that is a shit ton of the responsibility to heap onto your son that like
is estranged from you, basically.
But that, I mean, what I compared this to for like, I guess it's not really fair to compare, but I mean, when you look at the New 52, which this was based on, and the animated movie, which this heavily borrows from, he was pretty in line with that Cyborg. Like his dad really was a jerk. Like he ignored him, and then he only cared when he could turn him into a science project.
Okay.
So it was kind of in line with that. Again, the other two that they pulled from the comics and the animated movies were very, like, they were better executed, obviously.
Okay.
But as far as that character goes, they were pretty in line with Cyborg in keeping with his lore and his dad. Yeah, I mean, his dad wasn't a charismatic character, but he's written that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I was just like, on top of like losing your mom, being with your estranged dad, losing your body and your identity, you're responsible for all of this information overload. I thought it was just like, dang, dude. Like, not so much a dig on the movie, but just like, damn, that is a shitty father. Like,
And they got his power spot on. Like, from what I remember in New 52, he could tap into like all the information, kind of like Vision in Ultron, but like he used it to like deduce who Batman was, like no problem.
Okay.
And he can control all the, like, he could control everything. He could do like all this cool stuff with tech. So that was kind of cool to see. Yeah, they definitely did the most with his character with the added time. They didn't add much to Diana.
Mhm.
They added some to Batman, but it wasn't anything moving. Like they added like the flash forward, or like, yeah, the alternate future flash forward. And that's all I can remember from Batman. A few scenes with Alfred, which was kind of nice. It was just more establishing stuff. It wasn't really like it wasn't anything narratively heavy. They didn't add much for Batman, Wonder Woman, or even Superman in any way that changed the story much. They added mostly for Cyborg. They added a little for Flash. And from what I can remember, they didn't really add much for Aquaman. They added some character interactions that weren't there originally. Like the Aquaman and Batman interaction at the beginning was longer. It showed Batman getting to the town longer, and then him speaking with Arthur longer. And then that do you want to go into?
And it also showed the weird scene where
so much music.
Where the girls started singing like out of nowhere. It was so random.
The harmony was beautiful, but like, why?
Yeah,
and she just sniffing his jacket and like,
yeah, that was hella weird, dude.
They're about to start killing people. Like,
it was really cultish, creepy. Yeah.
I thought, yeah, that was hella weird, dude. That's one of the things I didn't like, and that made me laugh hella loud.
Going back to the sea, gonna smell your sweater.
I was gonna say
Arthur's just like
I was gonna say I liked that kind of throwaway line where Bruce was introducing the crew to Alfred. He was like, "This is Alfred. I work for him."
Badass Alfred.
Some of the other things that kind of going back to the beginning, like of intros of the characters, like I liked even though the Aquaman scene was hella long, I did like his kind of entrance. And then even though we've already seen the Wonder Woman entrance, I thought that scene was pretty dope, and she was blocking the bullets hella quick.
That was really cool.
They added a few I don't even think it's minutes, like a few seconds of that action. I feel like they added some more to it. There's already a lot of action there. There's a lot of the fast blocking already, which I liked.
Yeah.
I remember
it was like more though. But yeah,
they definitely added more to it.
I just love her theme.
The action they added
is always so
of course,
so awesome. Anytime the music kicks in.
Yeah, dude. Hans, that's Hans.
Oh, was it? No, it wasn't. That wasn't.
I thought he does. I thought he did the Wonder Woman.
He did the Wonder Woman soundtrack, but he wasn't the score person on this movie. There's some other dude.
But it's still her theme, right?
That's still her theme, but yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of unprompted, like unwarranted musical numbers in this movie, which again points me back to Watchmen and how much they got right.
That's why I did like
unforgettable.
Yeah,
that was perfect. That movie has the best comic book intro, and oh my god, like what song was it that they were singing? The Times Are Changing, and it was doing like this. That was completely made up for that movie. Like all those were like original frames of showing like the 60s, and it was great. So like I'm like at a loss for some of the stuff that Zack Snyder is doing in this
Yeah,
movie.
like I liked it because it had the Watchmen vibes, but then it was too much. Like it was overdone, and it
Definitely
was
too
just
much.
it just reiterated the same thing. But it was good Watchmen vibes, but just
Even Night Owl doing what's her face in The Owl was great with the music.
It was just there's so much.
Hallelujah. Even that part was it was nicely timed. Like it worked with the scene and
yeah,
the
when
song.
the fire came out, yeah.
But like a lot of the stuff in this movie was like, that's a weird song choice for this scene.
Mhm.
I can't remember what it was. I think it might have been Lois's part. They added a lot of like Lois scenes, I guess, for like to move the story forward a little bit more. So I want to tell you guys about all the things I like that they added, and I'm sad that they took out, because I can kind of still remember the Justice League cut. And for some reason, I can remember like a good portion of the 4 hours of this movie, even though I can barely remember Falcon and Winter Soldier, just because when you enjoy something, it's like you're not really, I don't know. For me, I'm like, I'm just enjoying it. Like I'm not nitpicking it. But with this, like the 4 hours of it, I'm like, oh, why did they do this? That's a weird choice. Why this song in this scene? Like I felt like a lot of it was like,
it wasn't just why this song in this scene, it's just why this song, why this slow-mo, why this
why
this
this
content,
song, why this scene, yeah.
why?
It's just why. It was why.
I honestly feel like I would prefer the Justice League cut, because I was the same level of disappointed in a shorter amount of time.
There's
like I
one
had
thing
more time afterwards to be like, oh, that wasn't that great.
I needed to ask, because I don't, again, like I feel like I watched that movie and wiped it from my brain. But the whole flashback of like the storyline about the mother boxes and how they're hidden, that was all in the Justice League cut.
There were some things that
they added a lot to
different.
it. They from what I recall, they only had like a portion of the fight with like the Lantern, the
it was shorter, definitely shorter.
Atlantis and the Amazons. They definitely cut that down. And I don't remember if Wonder Woman was even narrating it. I can't remember. But that scene was longer. And then when they showed how they like put that protective cover on it, and then where they hid them, that part was cut down a little bit more.
I was gonna say
they did show where each one hid them, but they didn't show like as long a scene as that.
The thing that cracked me up the most was just for that whole plot point was it kind of gave me Lord of the Ring vibes, because they all came together and then they hid the mother boxes across the different races. So it's kind of like how Lord of the Rings, each race had like a certain number of rings or whatever. But it was like, okay, so they covered it with something to like seal it in so it wouldn't send out a signal. And then like the Atlanteans had like a whole patrol, like guard place. The Amazons had that really cool cage that they dropped into the ocean, and then men buried it in a 2-foot hole.
A 2-foot hole.
And then again, Cyborg, when he was hiding it in the grave, also buried it in a 2-foot hole.
Dude,
like,
that
stub your foot. You could stub your toe on it.
Hey, they'll probably find Jumanji first before finding.
Like part of me was like, I wonder if that was because they're tracking people with like the scent. So if no one was around it, then no one carries the scent, so it's hidden longer. But also like, it's like a 2-foot hole.
They
At
just have to
least dig
spray it
it
with
deeper.
Febreze, dude. Yeah. Just Febreze it real quick.
Just dig it deeper. Cover it in something stronger than freshly tilled soil.
Even in that war flashback, like I feel like Darkseid was defeated hella quick, like with that axe.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yes,
that was like
dude,
a Thor.
That was so
that was
weak,
like
dude.
He bitched up super quick. Like,
and that was
he took a human axe to the shoulder.
Yeah,
man-made axe, not even an Atlantean or like an Amazon axe. I'm pretty sure it was just a regular dude with an axe.
Well, they said it's Ares. Yeah,
okay.
I was like, is that? I didn't look. Is that the same actor as?
Not one Omega beam was shot in that scene.
You're right. Yeah, and those gods were, so it was Ares, and then I didn't even think that it was Zeus. It like just didn't get Zeus vibes. Like,
he looked like he hella looked like Gerard Butler in 300.
I was about to say,
yeah, he did.
Dude. It was
I think he's fucking 300 kicked him too. I can't remember. I think he did.
Oh,
and not once did we see Darkseid do this. Can't do this. Come on, bro.
Trying to
That's
do
his
the
thing.
Morpheus, dude. You
That's
can't do
his
the
thing.
Morpheus.
That's his thing. He was supposed to do that behind his back and then shoot the Omega beams.
That's
That
true.
wasn't the same
disappointed. I wanna see
actor
more
though
Omega
that did
beams.
that was Ares, right? That wasn't
can't
Professor
remember.
Lupin.
I can't remember.
No, it wasn't him. It wasn't.
Oh, it
him.
wasn't him. Okay, yeah.
But then also after that flashback, I guess one of the other things that I didn't like is Darkseid was like, oh, we conquered hundreds of thousands of worlds and we didn't know that it was on Earth.
Like, I'm just gonna miss the anti-life equation.
How are they gonna?
Oh yeah, that's
dude.
right. We forgot about. They introduced the anti-life equation. They just said
Oh yeah, that's
it's
not
kind of
in
it's
the
like
Justice
it's like
League.
it's like DC's Infinity Gauntlet, where you can control reality, I suppose.
Yeah.
And just you can control like all humans.
Yeah.
But if
so-
that's the only world that he had been defeated on, wouldn't he remember where it was?
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, how did everybody
he
forget?
even smelled the earth, and somehow he didn't catch that. It was
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
That part was like, are you serious? How are they gonna forget? That was
very
dumb.
ham-fisted.
Oh, I turned
Yeah.
left.
He's like, oh, Earth, of course. What are you doing? I also didn't like his look in the beginning. He had that cleavage that was supposed to be the Omega
Oh.
sign. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the fuck kind of collarbone is that? His general look was kind of weird. I feel like they could have done better with him. I feel like a lot of the problem with DC's CGI characters is that they don't capture the actor's likeness enough, like Josh Brolin. So he's not humanized very much. But at the same time, they don't write their villains to be humanly. So like Thanos was kind of sympathetic in a way. Like you could empathize with his cause. But like everyone in the DC universe is like, I'm evil. I'm always evil. I'm only evil. That's all I am 24/7. There's nothing relatable to him. And it only like amplifies that when they look like a CGI character, not really like an actor. I
Yeah.
feel like they could have benefit more if it looked like somebody.
Yeah.
I will say for when the fight amongst themselves, when not that Clark turned evil yet, but just like when he was going up against them and he had like Batman pinned, it was like it's like a shock seeing your idol, like especially for Flash, like being evil or whatever. But tell me why I expected him to just be like, Martha.
We're doing this again. The moms, like, come on. So just quickly, I want to go over what I noticed right off the bat that they added. They made everyone kind of like more glimmery. Like I remember Steppenwolf wasn't as bright. Like
he looked way different.
He was blinged out, dude. He was
Even the armor, yeah.
drenched in chrome.
Oh
And then,
yeah.
The parademons look doper too. Like before, they looked really bland. Everyone looked kind of
I
like
didn't notice.
drab, like Batman v Superman color palettes type. They definitely they glossed everybody up for this one. Cyborg was really noticeable. So was Steppenwolf. The parademons even, like, they looked much different. I like that they got rid of that weird Gotham scene where Batman like captures that parademon in the Justice League cut.
Yeah, that was like one of the first scenes in Justice League. Yeah,
and it just didn't work. Like I feel like that's one I feel like Joss might have added. It's yeah. So then what else? They took out some lines that I really liked in the Joss Whedon version, which kind of shows like Joss Whedon's superiority as a writer over this team. I guess the screenplay was done by a guy named Chris Terrio. And then like some of the direction, like I feel like Zack Snyder is way better with visuals. He just overutilizes the slow motion way too much, but he really knows how to make things look beautiful. But like Joss Whedon, he can like balance characters better and he can bring levity. So it was weird. Like one of the lines they took out that I really liked from the Joss Whedon cut that they didn't bring back to the Snyder cut was when they went in that underground lair and they were getting the hostages back. And like Flash is kind of panicking. He was like, what do I do? Like, this is my first time being like a real hero. And then Batman says like, save one, then save another. And it was basically it's that, like, that was a great line. Like just focus on a task and then move on, like take it step by step. That was really powerful. They didn't have that. They brought back the line from the trailer where like Cyborg was like, so you're the Batman. I didn't think you were real. And he's like, I'm real. Yeah. That's one line that I wish was in the Joss Whedon cut.
What did you say?
I'm real when it's necessary, something like that. So I like that line a lot. I hate that they took out the Flash line. There's another thing. I was surprised to learn that Zack Snyder actually came up with something that I really liked in the Joss Whedon cut. It was when Flash was going to visit his dad in jail, and like a guard was being a dick to him, and then Flash like steals his pen and then like writes all over his face like real fast.
I don't even remember that.
And I was like, oh, everyone was like, oh, that's definitely like we didn't put that in there. Like that definitely reeks of like Avengers levity. But then you find out like Zack Snyder actually made that scene, if I remember correctly. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, but then it wasn't in the scene. Like a lot of the good stuff that was in the Whedon cut was taken out. And even though they added a lot of content that somewhat worked, I feel like I would have preferred the small content that really worked, like those small lines. I'm trying to remember another line that they took out that I really liked, but I can't remember right this instant. Those were two.
Wasn't Barry's dad also? That's Dr. Manhattan, right?
Yeah, it is.
Like the actor who played him. Okay.
Yeah, their scenes were extended. They didn't really add much to the story. I feel like they should have stayed cut down.
Some of the Flash scenes, like the way that he uses his speed, I thought it was really cool. Other than like his intro and everything.
So one thing I really liked that they added was when he turned and ran out of his shoes. That was freaking dope. I like that part a lot. That's definitely the Flash. Like that's why he has that super suit.
The slow-mo for the Flash scene, that's the one that you need. Yeah, that one makes sense.
Yeah,
everything
go
else,
heavy. Go heavy on that, even though Ezra Miller doesn't know how to run.
Yeah.
Why does he throw?
He's gonna point where each time his footstep goes somewhere.
But in the in the Flash show, that's one of his moves. Like he can throw thunder. Like when he runs, he can generate thunder and then throw it. I don't know if that's kind of where they're gonna go. Does it look as
goofy in that show?
It looks pretty goofy because it's the CW quality. But I mean, in the Snyder cut, it definitely looks a little goofy too.
Also, some of the moves he does, like when he touches down and then he runs, I'm like,
yeah. I just think in general, like he's so underutilized.
I'm like, all right.
It showed him
that was
fight.
Weird. That was weird.
It showed him fight only like one person. Like he threw him through the wall by like running fast and like hitting him with his like whatever. And then instead of like fighting other people, he just sees Diana diving for her sword, and he's just like, bink, and then he twists his ankle. I'm like, you could do other stuff in fight scenes.
When he twisted his ankle, but especially when he got the wind knocked out of him, I was dying, dude. That was hella funny to me. I don't know why. It was just so funny. It was just weird. Like it was executed weird. It was like really random.
The ankle twist scene was in the original though. I remember that.
Okay. Yeah. But I was just like, you could not to like he didn't need to be super beefed up, but like you could do other things.
So I didn't mind that they had an inexperienced Flash, because it's kind of like when he's first starting out. He hasn't even like he's not even working in the crime lab yet. And that's kind of when he starts using like his powers scientifically, when he gets into the crime lab. But I definitely would have liked to see a lot more like Flash-esque moves, like with the arm tornadoes. Yeah. That would have been cool. Fast punches, like seeing those. But he kind of did just like speed and throw people and like dodge stuff.
I also like the little hint that he knows gorilla sign language. I thought that was cool.
I totally forgot. Gorilla Grodd. I didn't even catch that.
So that was one thing I liked, which
nice.
Hopefully they I don't know, down the line maybe they'll introduce Gorilla Grodd. I don't know, but I thought that was
the opposite of speed is gorilla. So. Got him. Flash's rogues gallery don't make any sense, dude. The opposite of speed is cold weather.
There's a science behind there. I don't know.
I guess I'm slower when I'm cold. Yes.
Reverse Flash.
Oh, there you go.
Flash. Reverse Flash.
Slow? I guess.
So a lot of the feedback I have for the movie was more like questions, just again, because I don't remember a lot of the original, but like for the scene with Lois and what we find out later is
I didn't like that. I
was like, was that supposed to be the Manhunter? Because he was a white Martian.
Like you completely negate Martha's importance in the story when you find out it's Martian Manhunter. Like in the original, it was just Martha reaching out, like mother-in-law to daughter-in-law, like a consolidating.
I thought, if they left it at that, that would be an amazing scene because they're both grieving.
And then you find out naturally that Lois is important to Superman's story. But in this one, it's like, oh, Martian Manhunter knows that Lois Lane is essential to Superman being good. And then he kind of puts the pieces in place. It's like, no, he wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
Why would he know that?
Yeah. Well, and then I was wondering, because like in the end scene, when we see him again, he's green, but then in that scene, he's white. He's a white Martian. I was like, why would you do that animation that way?
What do you mean?
Like
He's
when
not
he
white.
changes from Martha into the other guy, he stands for a while in the hallway and he's all white. He looks like a white Martian.
Did he?
I don't think he's all
Yeah.
white.
No, he went green. What are you talking about? I didn't not recall that.
Are you colorblind?
Hang on, I gotta look this up because I was
Is
like,
my TV going bad on you? What's going on?
I was like, why would a white Martian be helpful?
He wasn't a white Martian. And besides, Miss Martian's a white Martian, so you're wrong.
But I mean, in general, she is an exception. I gotta see if I'm wrong. You guys continue with your dialogue. I'm pulling up the movie right now.
Yeah, so kind of
I'm telling you.
going off of your dislikes, I agree with your dislikes too.
So you were asking if Martian Manhunter was from the previous movies, and he was. I don't know if you caught this, Vince, but when he turned back to his human form from Martha, he was the general from Man of Steel. Yeah. And I guess that's who's playing Martian Manhunter now. But at the same time, it's like, why wouldn't you help during that whole time they were trying to terraform Earth? Like, that's so weird. That's definitely shoehorned. Like, that's not something Martian Manhunter would do.
Yeah, it was definitely weird to see him. I was surprised, like genuinely surprised that they had that, which was cool that they included him. But it was also, like you said, it was just like random. It wasn't executed. And especially the point you just made, if he was really, since he's a general, if he was there the whole time with all this stuff going on.
He's informed. Yeah.
So here's the thing about Martian Manhunter. He is like, I feel like if he was executed, he could be like Iron Man level MCU importance. Like, he's a really good character when written correctly, and his importance to the Justice League. He's kind of the heart of the team. He's been on every incarnation of the Justice League because he's like the soul and the heart of the team. He's definitely underplayed because he's so similar to Superman in powers, but if they're written correctly, he could definitely be like a great character to have, and have an individual movie. But like in this, like, it's weird because, like I said earlier, he just watched everything in Man of Steel happen and let it get to that point without knowing that Superman would succeed. Like, you would think at some point he would step in. But in the comics, there is a precedent for John standing by and watching things happen, but not when they're dire like that. Like in the comics, he was actually there when Superman crash landed to Earth as a baby, and he like found him first, and then he watched Martha and Jonathan find Clark. Like, he was present for that moment, but it wasn't like life. It wasn't world destroying. So he kind of just stood by and watched it happen. So there's precedents for him watching history happen without intervening. But when it comes to like life and like world-class threats, he's not just going to stand by and be a US general. I was like, dumb. Unless somehow they can expand on it, where if they show scenes from him in Man of Steel kind of doing things behind the scenes, kind of like how the Ancient One was like taking aliens down during the invasion, but she wasn't playing like a major role. I feel like they definitely shoehorned his character in. And then I felt like they tried to do a Jarvis, like, hey, we have this actor in the tuck. We can have him play Jarvis. We have Paul Bettany. He could play Jarvis. And they're like, oh, we have this black general. We like to use black people for Martian Manhunter mostly, so we could just use him. This whole time he was Martian Manhunter. And it's like, no, it's not as organic. They definitely shoehorned that development in, but I still geeked out as soon as I seen Martian Manhunter. And I even knew
I was surprised.
I even knew he was coming to this movie, and I was like, oh, it's Martian Manhunter. Whoa, shit.
So
he fucked Jonathan Kent. What's going on?
It was him the whole time.
There is no Martha.
even when in the field, when she's like, it's still him.
And then like John wasn't there for the last fight. It's like, no, he would definitely be there somehow. Yeah. I guess again they could shoehorn him in after the fact. He does have invisibility, so maybe he was fighting that way. But I like to think that the reason he wasn't there is because there's a lot of fire, and that's his weakness. He's like, fuck that.
Please. I went back and I looked, and on my TV it still looks white, but it could just be my TV, I guess.
Interesting. No, he's definitely
I was like, this. I feel like this is supposed to be Jean, but I don't know why he would be white. So.
And then he comes back in the end after Batman has his flash forward, and it was really ham-fisted. It was like, hey, I'm Martian Manhunter. And Batman's like, oh yeah. Cool, what's
That
up?
scene was hella weird to me too.
Yeah.
He
It was
wasn't
just
even
like,
phased. I guess you wouldn't be phased with all the stuff you've seen, but at the same time, like, wouldn't you want to know more? Especially if you're Batman. Like, what? You've been here the whole time. What do you know?
that was hella weird.
What else? Who else should I gather? Like,
Yeah.
it was just very underplayed. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is since Bruce lives in that glass house, lake house, whatever, is the place that they opened up, is that Wayne Manor that they're gonna start the Justice League in, when you was like a round table,
Yeah, that
6
was-
chairs?
I think it
That was-
was. It
It was, and it was weird that he was surprised, like, oh, it must be like 150 feet. It's like, motherfucker, you used to live here. Like, you
Yeah.
don't remember?
That's why I was like, this looks like it's
It's been
supposed
a
to be
while.
Wayne Manor, but all right, I guess. You're
Do you
gonna
wanna-
hold a secret place in a prestigious house.
So another thing that I noticed that they added that wasn't from the Joss Whedon cut was the Luthor boat scene was different. Like in the Joss Whedon cut, he was like, there's Deathstroke there, and he was like, oh, they made a team. I wonder, like, what if we made a team of our own? Something to that effect. And then it hints
Yeah.
at like the Injustice League. But in
Mhm.
this one, it was hinting at, like, they were kind of leaving room
he
for
gives
the
him the name.
they were leaving room for the solo Batman movie, which was supposed to be Deathstroke versus Batman. He was like, I have something for you. Like, I hear you're going after the Batman. His name is Bruce Wayne. And I was like, oh shit, it's about to happen. But then I realized, like, they're not making that movie anymore. So it's like, why would I get hyped over that? It doesn't make any sense unless they still got it in the tuck. Because it was supposed to be Ben Affleck and Chris Terrio, the guy who wrote on this movie too, making the Batman. And now that it's not happening, it's kind of like salt in the wound. It's like, oh, I guess. But then again, it is Snyder's vision. So like, this is what was going
he
to
hoped.
happen.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily setting things up, so I can respect that. But at the same time, it's like, ah, damn, that's a missed opportunity.
That's what even the end scene, you know, like the nightmare scene, that part was different too than what happened in, was that BVS when he had that original premonition?
Yeah.
So that scene was different. And Snyder already in interviews, he already said that there's going to be no Justice League sequel, no other movie either. So there's nothing continuing after this, but he did have an idea of what the premonition would mean moving forward.
Mhm.
So some of the things that was
I
different.
do remember the Flash. When he got that premonition in Batman versus Superman, remember we were like, why does he look weird? Like, he looks way different. In that Joker scene, it shows more of that Flash's outfit. So that's where it makes sense. Yeah, that, and he has like facial hair and it's got longer hair
He
again.
looks older.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does. He almost
So
looked like a
that-
different actor. I didn't realize.
He did look like a different actor.
Yeah, that scene, it sets up, you know, Batman, and you see other heroes in there as well. You see Cyborg, you see Slade with a mohawk, you see
so weird.
Joker, which we don't know how.
It was a
or-
weird ass transition because it goes from that boat scene to the future scene.
It was weird.
And it went from Deathstroke wanting to kill Batman to now working with him. And it's like, there
Yeah.
wasn't any in between time for like there any to be any reason to flip. It's like, okay, I guess now they're on the same side.
Yeah.
But that Joker scene I feel like he was trying to tap into what Nolan did in the interrogation room with Christian Bale and Heath Ledger. But like, there are extra characters there just sitting by. Like, wouldn't one of them be like, yo, we got a mission. Why are you guys talking?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Even though I liked a lot of that dialogue. That was good.
The Harley dialogue.
I didn't like that part.
I was like,
Oh, that's
I was like,
another
to
thing.
kill
They
him
dropped
slow.
They
I
dropped
was like,
3 F-bombs in this movie.
That's what made it rated R. Or I mean PG-13. Or
3 No, that's R. I feel like
Yeah.
PG-13 is 1 F-bomb.
Yeah.
But that's
Sorry,
aside from
yeah.
that.
Did they-
Yeah, I like a lot that, like, you find out that Joker's okay. So it kind of flashes forward. We find out it's an apocalyptic timeline that happens because Batman for some reason let Lois die, and now Superman's pissed off and he killed like most of the planet. There's a small resistance, and it's made up of the Flash, Mera, Deathstroke, Batman, and then you see Joker
And Cyborg.
And Cyborg, and
And
then
Cyborg.
you see Joker, and it's like they have this Joker and Batman have this back and forth, and then I really like
the card.
what did Mira was like getting mad at Batman because for some reason.
She was just angry. She was like, I want to kill him
Kill
for what he did
Superman.
to Arthur.
Right. And then she was like, how could you understand? Like, who have you ever
have you
loved? And then
loved?
that's when you see Joker come in, and that
Oh,
part
that
was
was
good.
cool.
He was
Yeah, I like
a
that part too.
Like, what did he say again, Kuya? Do you remember? Like, he's
He
lost a mother.
He was like, he's lost a mother, a father,
An adopted
and an
son,
adopted
and
son.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like
yeah.
the cards
That was
when
sick.
I like when he talks about the cards. Like, we have a truce as long as you have this card, or you could rip up the card and I'll tell you everything about what happened to Robin.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That was great.
So
That's
that
pretty
that kind of leads into I don't know if you guys heard, but they're like Jim Lee, he posted like some stills like of some storyboard things that were supposed to be for like the next Justice League or whatever.
Whoa,
And so,
what?
but then it got erased. Like WB took it down or something like that.
Of course.
But but since it's not happening anymore, I guess it doesn't really matter anyway. But the story behind the premonition basically was that basically while Superman is dead, Lex puts together the Legion of Doom, and then that consists of it wasn't like hella characters. It was Captain Cold, it was the Ocean Master, Black Manta, Dr. Poison, and the Riddler. So it was kind of like
No Deathstroke, huh?
I think Deathstroke was in there too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. But so he's putting together that team, and then he's trying to find the mother boxes, which he does, and then that summons Darkseid. And then so they talk about the anti-life equation, and then Lex is like, if you kill Lois, that will set off Batman. That'll set off Superman so that you can control him. So that's what he does.
Oh,
And
is
so
that considered the anti-life then? Like him controlling Superman? Was that what it is?
Yeah, like Superman,
Oh.
because Darkseid killed Lois, that suppressed his will to go on or something like that, and so he was really vulnerable. So that Darkseid used the anti-life equation to control him.
Oh, he uses it on Superman. Yeah, that part was
Yeah.
like hinted at in like 15 seconds of like cinematics.
He's holding a skeleton that was burned.
A charred. He's holding a charred body, and then Darkseid comes and puts his hand on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
And then
weird
he's
too.
he's flying and holding Batman's cowl.
Yeah, but it's kind of weird too, because some other things that they were some of the other details was because Superman was dead, that 5-year period. You know how Lois in the Snyder Cut, she had that pregnancy test.
Yeah.
So it turns out that the kid was Batman's.
Oh, come on, no.
Yeah. So the kid
Why?
was Batman's, and you know the scene where Flash goes back in time and then he talks to Batman in the premonition. He's like, Lois, she's the key.
Mhm.
So they couldn't figure out what that meant. So in the future, they can only do it, I think, once a year, like when the planet is aligned, something like that. So they can go back to that time so that they can change things again. They create the cosmic treadmill so that they can do that.
I forgot about that.
But they tried so many times and Bruce wasn't able to decipher. So the next time he goes to when Lois and Bruce, they're trying to find the Riddler. Oh, sorry. Going back. So Bruce and Lois, they're trying to find the Riddler because he supposedly solved the anti-life equation.
Oh,
he solves it, but he doesn't tell them and he kills himself. And then a whole drama breaks out between Bruce and Lois, and then she tells him, "Oh, you're not the father." And then that's when she leaves. And then during the part where she leaves, that's when Darkseid comes in and kills her. But when they use the cosmic treadmill, and then future Bruce tells Barry to tell present Batman, instead of saying like Lois is the key, blah blah blah, he says Lois lied, you are actually the father. So because Bruce knows that, he knows
whose idea
to
of the
leave
story
Lois.
was this Zack Snyder's like doing?
I think it is. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
God, it sounds like it's a fucking telenovela. This is too much.
Yeah. So
Barry
he
Why
tells
would Lois be with
Batman,
Bruce to
you're the
begin with?
father. It's
Like-
like Barry. It's like what the fuck is this?
so when he figures out that Lois lied and that she's the father, or he's the father, he stays with her. Therefore, Superman or Lois doesn't die, and then Batman sacrifices himself. He dies, and then eventually, eventually she does give birth. Like 20 years later, she tells the son that it's not the dad is not Superman, but it's Batman, and then he becomes the next Batman.
What the fuck is that shit? That
Bruce has
sounds
enough
dumb.
kids.
That
You don't
sounds
need
like
to give him more.
that sounds like no punches are thrown at all during that story.
So I'm glad
Yeah.
it didn't happen because
Yeah.
that's too
Yeah.
crazy. That's too crazy.
That sounds like 7 hours.
That sounds like a lot of slow motion. Wow.
While she's giving birth, is just a baffled king composing, and it's like slow motion. She's like pushing.
20-hour labor that lasted 3 hours for real.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so that's kind of the story from the premonition and how it connects to the next Justice League sequel and whatnot. So I'm glad it didn't work out, and because that's just too out of left field for me.
Like,
No bueno. That's
Yeah.
just too much.
it's
Yeah.
awful.
I'm telling you, like when Zack Snyder is given free reign, he will make a terrible story. Like give him a comic book to stick to panel for panel. He'll make a great looking movie. But like if you give him free reign, he's gonna make a terrible fucking movie.
I feel like most of the action, like because you said he excels more in visuals. Most of the action that I appreciated was just like all of Wonder Woman's scenes in the Amazons. Like that was pretty well done.
Even Cyborg's stuff. Like
Yeah.
they added a lot of his flying scenes that weren't originally there.
Yeah.
And I feel like they added a few more frames to the Justice League versus Superman
Right.
fight,
Yeah.
which was great. I love that.
I was
Originally, even
I was just bored during the Batman and Flash fight scenes. Like me.
yeah, they
Not
didn't
much
give
goes
enough.
on.
Yeah, the Batman threw like a couple of what I liked though when he was fighting the parademons, he really was putting the forms.
He was
in.
taking
Yeah.
He had
You
some
like
good
how you like how with the
I did not
third
like
mother
he was
box-
using a gun for like the whole time. Jeez,
Well,
against
yeah.
parademons. Like I get that you're immortal, you're a mortal, and you can only do so much against like aliens. But even in the cartoons, he was like throwing explosive batarangs,
Yeah.
being Batman to a degree, not just using a fucking gun the whole time.
Well, even like all of his tech and stuff it only showed Alfred working on stuff. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
look
right.
like he knew how to do anything
true, yeah.
except throw that one batarang when he was in a suit.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
but
Alfred did the
Alfred
voice
was
thing.
doing hella
I
stuff.
remember the
Yeah.
Joss Whedon, he was like, rubber baby, blah, blah, blah. He was like the one doing the voice. Anything?
He,
It's
he
like,
was also teaching Wonder Woman how to make tea.
how to make tea.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
She's
like, this is
5,000 years
unnecessary.
old.
What
I'm,
is
I'm
this?
sure she knows how to make tea.
Yeah, I was like, what
Like
is
it's
this,
like
dude?
all of those little unnecessary scenes. Someone should have been like, "Hey Zach,
Yeah.
this is adding up." It's like
Yeah.
3 hours.
I-
now. Do
We're
we need the tea? Do we
three-
need? Do we need the tea scene?
I liked I liked how when the third mother box, when Superman like is risen and they all appear to like confront him and be like, oh my god, he's back. I just picture Batman like, I'll see you there. Just no one gave him a ride. He's just running.
Yep. Yeah. Anyways, so you want to do the recap for Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Yeah. We finally got episode 1. And like right off the bat,
Hella good.
production quality, like movie production quality. Like
Mm.
Even if it was only 45 minutes, they packed a lot in there, but it didn't seem like they were forcing anything. Like it just
Exactly.
seemed so natural. Like it flowed really well, like straight from the beginning. Like it was
Exactly.
really-
And I love the way they started it. Like they went straight
Yeah.
into the action. It was like almost the opposite of Wanda, where it was all story
mhm.
immediately, and you kind of have to stay
yeah.
tuned for 2 episodes. But like Falcon kicked it off like immediately with the
Yeah.
the Falcon
Wait.
scene in the valley. Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my
Hold on,
God.
let's do the recap.
Let's do the
Let's do the
recap.
recap.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Cool.
So the episode starts with Sam, predictably. I thought that we would see him. And he's just like, it looks like he's in a hotel room. He's putting on a suit. And I was like, oh shit, is he going to Steve's funeral? Like, are we going to see like a
what I thought
gravestone
too.
for old Steve?
Yeah.
And he has the shield and he's like putting it away. And it just, it's like old Steve's voice saying like, how does it feel? I'm assuming
which
like
is
he's
cool.
practicing with the shield. And then he said
Yeah.
it feels like someone else's. And then it cuts to a mission that he went on, I feel like recently, where he basically has to stealthily rescue, was it a captain? I forget the rank, but he has to rescue
I
someone
forgot.
that was flying into like enemy territory or something. He was kidnapped. and he has to do it stealthily because the country can't know that American troops were operating in their airspace. So we get this whole aerial fight, like inside of helicopters, inside of airplanes, in the sky.
He was
like,
just going in and out of
so
helicopters.
good, dude.
So good. He's got a lot of versatility with his
quality.
flight that Iron Man doesn't, because
Yeah.
he's like more maneuverable. And
Yeah.
oh my god, geez, a lot of it I liked a lot more than some of the Iron Man flight scenes, just because he's so maneuverable. Like he can go from sky to land so quick, and then like that one scene where like, go ahead, do your recap. I'm like getting ahead of it.
It's fine, but it's
so
just like,
excited.
They brought back Batroc. My Batroc's back, and you're gonna be hey now.
So he's
hey now. My Batroc's back. So good, dude. The
Hey,
Leaper.
time out. This guy wrote this. Dude. This guy wrote this, dude.
The Leaper's back, dude. Even with his colors, the yellow and the purple. Lakers.
Yeah.
So he's back. He's the bad guy who kidnapped the soldier, and Falcon breaks into their. Basically, they hijacked a U.S. plane. He has someone on the ground, like giving him intel of what's happening, and he uses the Red Wing to cut into the ship, and then he just like goes from flying to like landing super quick, and like all the
So
fight
good.
scene with
That's what I was
like
gonna
the
reference,
different
like-
shielding that he did with both wings, and then with one
hella
wing.
cool.
Oh my god, his
The
suit
wings-
is
the
so
wings just look
saucy now.
better.
His whole suit, like they leaned fully into the red and the black and the more
Yeah.
superhero look. Whereas when he debuted in Winter Soldier, it was like army fatigues, and it was like kind of like desert camo-ish, almost desert, like jungle camo. But like in this one, they fully lean. Like you saw him transition more in Civil War. He looked more heroic.
Yeah.
And it started, I believe, in Ultron at the end, where they're putting together the new Avengers team. But in this one, like his wings look so much better.
The
like
wings look hella
when he
dope.
did the one wing block, it definitely looked more like the feathers. Like, you know how it wasn't like all level like a
Yeah,
cape?
it just looks more realistic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was so
Well, even
and
just
even,
the way
like-
that sorry, Vince.
No, go ahead.
The way that he fights, like, so he fights like kind of like with the Ant-Man fight where he uses some of his boosters to like maneuver, but he did it even more in this
He
fight
goes
where
back
like
and forth.
he'll like he grabs one guy and he uses his jet to like hit him into a
That
box
scene was sick.
and
So
stuff
good.
like that. So like it's
his
just
fighting got better too when he did
It
the
did.
trip and then the punch. I was like, damn, this guy has new techniques. Okay,
yeah.
they
So
give this guy the super soldier serum. What's going on?
so that whole
He did that
time
scissor thing too.
they're still in that US plane, and then eventually like he gets distracted with are you gonna sing the song again?
The bad truck's back. In trouble. When
Hey
that
now.
when that soldier saw him in the window and he was like, oh,
Oh, that scene was hella
He was
funny.
like,
I was
I'll
dying
kill
on
you,
that
stop
scene,
messing
dude.
around.
Which was kind of like I kind of got the vibes of the first Iron Man when he's flying and the
yeah,
on the
he's on
jet.
your belly. Looks like a man.
Yeah. That was kind of cool. I don't know if that was a nod to it.
I feel like everything in Marvel is a nod. Like they go deep with it. And I mean, when you I don't know where it was revealed. Have you guys ever like seen anything about the Wakanda book that they released? Like has like
No.
Shuri's notes and stuff. It has a
No.
lot of like juicy details that they add to the MCU lore. Like they say, just like off on a tangent, they say that Iron Man's jump from like strictly machinery to like nanotech in Infinity War has a lot to do with Wakanda. Like he made a deal with T'Challa and he kind of got some info
So
on how to do nanotech.
That's cool.
And then like it's like it's got like Shuri's notes. It's like a book written as if Shuri
That's
wrote
cool.
notes. But like if I was gonna say like Stark is the one who made the military tech for Falcon's gear, so that's why there's a lot of nods to his fighting and
so I was gonna say Red Wing, like I figured that was Stark tech, but with Stark being gone, who's making all the tech? And it would make sense if it was Wakanda. But they don't really say who upgraded his suit specifically.
Well, it could have started out with tech and then like it just goes from different.
Or it could be Riri Williams secretly.
There you go. Which was kind of weird because like I forgot where I heard that it was Stark tech, but then like it was like before or during Civil War, and it's like, wouldn't Stark know how to neutralize this?
Yeah.
Like he was fighting
exactly.
Falcon. Like that's a tangent. But yeah, so a lot of the fighting was very reminiscent. Like his flight is so crisp.
Smooth.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
When he's flying in that valley, like
Well, so that's what's next. So when he's distracted,
they take the prisoner and like just duct tape him to the back of someone's back,
They put
and
him
then
in
they have like the
suits.
flying squirrel suits.
Like they were gonna run away from Falcon in those. Like
I know. I was like, he has boosters. He has like they're just using air. Like, how are you gonna outmaneuver him?
They definitely upgraded his suit. Like in when he debuted in Winter Soldier, all he had were the wings, and then
it was just the wings.
double
yeah,
Uzis.
and just the chest. Yeah,
the double Uzis and the wings. But like now he was like shooting proximity mines. He had his red wing has like missiles and like a laser. Now.
It has a like a machine gun on there.
Yeah.
Super dope.
Yeah.
He also has like this I don't know how to call it, but it's like it's not a rope, but it's like a metal.
Oh yeah, he has a grappling hook. Yeah, we got that dude out of like get over
so that
here.
was sick.
Damn, what the fuck? Yeah, dude,
so
I'm telling you right now, they bring him to the Avengers. That's my main all day. I'm dropping Iron Man.
But yeah, so he they like dive through this valley. The bad guys are in like what looks like, base jumper suits, like they look like flying squirrels, but they're like maneuvering through all this stuff, and I was like, okay,
which is hella crazy.
It was dope too what they were doing. They were going in and out of helicopters too, which was
it was cool, but I was like, how realistic is this without like propulsion? Like they're just using the air, I guess.
I mean, but if they were falling downwards to helicopters that were lower, then I guess it could be.
Yeah,
Falcon was able to catch up without his thruster for a while. So
yeah, the bad guys were able, like their planning was crazy because they hijacked the U.S. plane, and then they met up with a helicopter, and then they had a backup helicopter after that helicopter exploded. Because
I got some serious Bane vibes from
it
was really good.
It was crazy planning. And then at one point they're like, because they just keep like going into the next vehicle to escape from him, and then when he appears they just grab the prisoner and jump back out and then go into the next vehicle. But their ultimate goal is to get into the airspace of, I think it was Libya, because they absolutely like could not follow them there. I don't know how they found me. But so
they're really close to getting to that border, and then that's when the soldier on the ground, what's his name?
Torres.
Yeah. So Torres, we get introduced to him, and then
reminded me of Vince.
Yeah.
What the hell?
That's Vince, bro.
What? Okay, I guess. He's very good looking.
Exactly, dude. Super hipster handsome, just in the army. Okay, all right. He was a discount Jonathan Gordon-Levitt.
Jonathan.
He was a discount. He was a discount Joseph Gordon-Levitt, dude.
So would the discount's name be Jonathan?
Yeah, Jonathan Gordon.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, he's in communication with Falcon, and then he's just saying like he gives like a countdown. He's like, "How close are we to the border?" Yeah. So then that's when Falcon kind of he goes through the helicopter, and then he grabs that guy.
So good.
And then it was so good. And then that's when he threw the proximity mine. And then the thing blew up, but we see Balchak still like alive. Like he's not.
He gets blown up,
dead.
but he's not dead. He's definitely coming back.
Yeah.
The leaper.
So from that scene, we go into.
Oh, one thing I want to cover, in case you skip it, I really like that they showed Falcon fixing his own gear.
Yeah.
That's next.
That's next.
One thing I have a problem with is people who are gear dependent that don't make their own gear. Like, what happens if Ant-Man's gear fails? He doesn't know how to repair it. He doesn't really have anything else besides the Ant Tech. This is Scott Lang I'm talking about, not Pym. So, like, I have a problem with certain characters like that because if you dismantle their suits, they're kind of useless. So, like, the Stark is a different story because he's a genius. Like, he's shown he can hold his own even without a suit because he can invent stuff on the spot. But like, it was nice to see Falcon fix his own gear because it's kind of like, okay, he maybe he can kind of hold his own in case his gear fails. He'll still be a hero. Like he's not dependent on gear.
Yeah. So that was the next scene where the reason why it was like more urgent to get them out of the sky over that enemy space was he took a hit to, it looked like Red Wing, but it affected his thrusters. So that's what Matt was talking about. Like after he successfully rescued the person, he's like at the table with Torres getting more information on intel of like who this operating team is, like what their purpose is and what else he needs to be aware of. And during this whole conversation, he's fiddling with his, it looks like his chess piece.
They tried to shoot his thruster, but they accidentally hit Rhodey's arc reactor, and then he fell out of the sky for a second time.
Stupid.
It's my arms this time.
Anyway, yeah, so he's fiddling with his tech to fix it. And then Torres is giving him the rundown of like secret markings that is basically like you know, the what is it, not QR codes, but like you see it now where people try to do like real world scavenger hunts.
Yeah,
it was almost like
the Pokemon Go.
It was like it reminded me of the Blade 2 glyphs.
Yeah,
they had to look like special binoculars to find out where the vampires were hiding.
So he's telling them about this like underground group that basically thinks that the world was better when people had disappeared with the blip, and in the 5 years that they had prospered, so they're trying to basically turn the clock back around.
The Flag Smashers.
The Flag Smashers, which I found out like is an actual villain from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost it's like how they took the 10 rings of the Mandarin and turned it into a terrorist organization. They kind of took Flag Smasher and made it a group, but it's not clear whether or not there's actually going to be a Flag Smasher villain just yet.
Not yet.
We do see someone with like a super soldier. Sorry, go ahead, do your recap.
So Torres is like crawling I don't know if it's really the dark web, but just forums and stuff, trying to find any information about this group.
It was Box Den.
Hey, bro, did y'all see Flag Smashers on YouTube? Hold on. Lady Gaga took someone's soul and then the Flag Smashers.
Lady Gaga. Oh, dude.
But yeah, so he was scanning the area. You see that little symbol pop up, like you're talking about Pokemon Go, like IRG, different things. But they basically like populate a space, like a forum space, and then they go dark right away. So they like gather all these people, and like it doesn't seem like a whole lot of them are informed of what's going on. They're just like, hey, we need bodies, so come at this time and do this, and that's as much as anyone knows. So it's like,
I mean, they pulled it off. I've seen tug of wars planned for like 2 weeks that didn't go very smoothly. This one, it was like, I show up, all right, we're robbing a bank, we got it, all right, cool. See you there.
But so at the end of that conversation, Torres is asking like what happened to Steve, because like obviously they can't tell them like he went back in time and he stayed there. Like they just like, oh, he's on the moon. Did you fly him to the moon? Like all this stuff.
He's Joe Biden now.
So
like that where it's like, oh, then Falcon gets called away and he's like, oh, what you got going on? And he's like,
moon stuff.
Yeah.
Just
so
it's cool.
So good.
Because like, what do you? I mean, there's the Nick Fury up in space.
Oh
like,
shit! I completely forgot about that. There is moon stuff going on.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm saying. Like, so maybe they kind of know what's going on, and then
oh man,
you know, there's that, and then there's the whole like Owatu.
Yeah.
Like who knows?
Yeah. So we're still following. We're still following Sam, and he's back in Washington, and it's back at that scene where like he was getting ready at a hotel and he puts the shield into a bag, and it turns out that he's donating the shield to the Smithsonian for that whole archive
like
of
shrine thing.
Yeah,
like
it's basically a whole archive area that details all of the like it has all the way back to like when he was just a soldier, stuff about Bucky. And it has like his
which
old
is actually
uniform.
different now too. I don't know if you guys noticed, but some of the things that were in there are updated.
Yeah.
Like some of Bucky's story compared to what was in Winter Soldier. Yeah, they added more.
Yeah. Oh, I guess they learned more. I remember in the Winter Soldier, just like the only soldier to fall, like the only one of the commandos.
Yeah.
They definitely added more to it. I like that Rhodey was there. I really like that. They're good with the military branches of wait, what branch is Sam with? At first I thought it was Air Force, just because
he was Air Force.
Yeah,
is he?
It has to be Air Force.
I remember. Well, he was talking to Torres, he was like, "I've been working with the Air Force for 6 months now." But then I remembered that he was discharged.
Yeah, and then he was running the rehab group.
Yeah. So I guess he's working with the military in that sense. At first, it caught me off
guard. But it's like secret.
Wait,
though. He's like working with his Air Force kind of secretly. Yeah.
Right. And at first I was like, wait, wasn't he Air Force to begin with? But then I definitely forgot that he was discharged before Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool that Rhodey was there because that is his superior. Like Rhodey is the colonel, and then
Yeah.
Sam's kind of like whatever he is. They don't really say his rank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rhodey
And
is
then
basically
Carol Danvers is also in the Air Force too. They don't really address that much. But
Yeah.
a lot of military people in the Marvel U. So
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah.
nice.
So Rhodey's there to kind of like, you know, show support, but also like try to talk him out of it. Like the fact that he's giving something that Cap had left to him, and he was like,
Oh, that was such a good scene.
He was like, I
It was
told
a
Cap
great
that it
scene.
didn't. Yeah,
I
he
love
was
that
like,
scene.
the first
I
thing
like it a lot, particularly because those two, like in a way, Falcon's kind of responsible for him getting crippled.
Yeah,
Because he
that's
did dodge
true.
that
That's true.
shot. I guess Vision ultimately, but
Yeah.
at the same time, Falcon was definitely involved heavily with it.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of cool to see those two's rapport.
Well, it's also like they don't have the connection, I guess, of like Stark versus Tony, like or Tony versus Steve, and like they both lost a very good friend of theirs, so I feel like they're also hurting there too. The main part of that conversation was Rhodey trying to say like, you know, we need heroes now more than ever. Are you sure you want to give up that mantle because he left it to you? And then Sam just reiterates the flashback voice that we heard, where it's like, the first thing I told Cap when he gave me the shield was that it felt like someone else's, and basically like he's still gonna do what he can as a superhero, but as the Falcon and not as the next Captain America. So you just see like it looks like Steve's whole uniform is there with the shield now in the Smithsonian. And then from there we cut into Bucky at
Ooh, that scene
it's
too.
it's just all action. He's taking down a bunch
So
of people.
good.
And
Oh my
the first thing
God.
I looked for when I saw that scene, and he came through the wall and everything, was
Scared the
what
shit
arm
out
is
of
he
me.
wearing?
The arm, what arm is he wearing? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how
I
you know
was
it's,
like,
it's so good. Just they don't even have to show a big ass name or a time. They could just show the arm and people will catch on. Oh, it's a silver arm. That's in the past. He's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
rocking the Black Wakanda arm. It's so subtle. Like the things that they
Scared
can
the
do.
shit out of me.
yeah, yeah. You just the first thing you see of him is an arm going through a wall, grabbing a dude.
The first
and then
thing
he comes through
I
with a
saw
bunch
was
of
the scream,
guns.
dude. Every time they play that song, it's so freaking. Oh my god, so good.
But the action was awesome. Like obviously, like this is, he even says Hail Hydra, like he's there for a takedown. So
Mhm.
he's like shooting.
Bro, when
guns.
he jumped off that balcony, oh my god.
Yeah.
And it was like pop out. Oh my god, the action
Yeah,
was so
dude.
good, dude. I was
I
getting
feel like
vibes
it-
of Civil War again.
They still had the same. It seemed like they had the same choreographers.
They
Kind
brought
of like,
they brought everybody.
It's like
back, I feel
consistent. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Very
consistent.
consistent.
Which
Yeah, his fight-
I liked.
his fight style, like whereas Sam's improved, like his is consistent still. Like it's
consistent,
still the
yes.
same
Still
vibe
dope.
of
Yeah.
Bucky. But
Mhm.
you see later like an innocent bystander that's just trying to get back to his room at that hotel. Like there can't be any witnesses, so he takes that guy out, and then he wakes up
Mhm.
and you find out that it was just a nightmare / memory. And then from there you see that he is in a therapist's office, and it turns out that as part of his pardon for all of his actions as a Winter Soldier, he has to be checked out by this government therapist.
He got
And
the
it
Joe
turns
Biden
out-
pardon. He
And
got
it
it.
turns out that she
Got
was it turns out that she also used to be a soldier, so she's telling him like,
Yeah.
you're so isolated, like you don't have any friends, you're not even answering Sam's texts, and
Mhm.
the most isolated place you can be is alone.
Part of his condition of his pardon is like they kind of make up like this Dexter code where he's making amends, where he can't break the law, he can't hurt anybody, and then what was the third? Forgot. What the rules were.
He has to tell them that
Oh,
he's
he has
not
to
the
tell-
Winter Soldier.
Oh, that's right,
and
that's
he's,
right, that's right,
And his
James-
name is
James.
I'm
yeah.
James. Yeah, it's so good.
And
Oh my
smile.
God.
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
while he's reciting these rules, you see a flashback of one of the people on his list that he's supposed to make amends with. And it's some senator that he put in office that's still abusing her power. And she's basically in the process of hiring a different hitman to take out someone that's standing in her way. And he was like, I followed your rules. I didn't break the law, which you see him breaking the law. Like he hijacks her car to make it drive crazy in this empty parking lot.
Yeah.
He
He
knocks
didn't
that
hurt
dude out.
anyone, and he like punches the assassin.
Yeah.
I guess he didn't feel it. So I don't know.
And then he tells her, I'm not like, do you remember who I am? I'm not the Winter Soldier anymore. I'm James Buchanan Barnes. And then he
Oh.
smiles. But basically, like
not
he
on
didn't,
my
he didn't do any lethal damage, but he did incriminate her enough with all of
the actions she's doing while she was in office, that the cops arrive and they like basically like take her in or whatever. He gives enough information to an aide to get her out of office.
There's a subplot of Falcon trying to get his like it's cool. They tell more of Falcon's backstory. He's from the South,
It was Louisiana.
Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana, and like he's trying to help his sister save their fishing boat. So it's like a nice little sub story. It adds more to his background.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really liked about this episode was that it kind of just shows the ordinary life of the superheroes,
Of
and
both
you
of
can
them.
really connect with for both of them. So you can really relate to them, especially I mean in kind of like times now where businesses are struggling and stuff like that, and you see Sam kind of arguing with his sister because she's been barely keeping the business afloat during the 5 years that he was gone. And so like he's trying to, in a way, there's parallelism where both Falcon and Winter Soldier, they're still kind of stuck in the past.
Yeah.
Where he's still trying to make up for the time that he missed. And while she's just like, I need to move on. I finally accepted it. And you weren't here when our parents were gone. And like, I survived this while I'm a widow and I have kids. And so like you empathize with her and everything. And so I thought that was a really cool aspect that they added into the show. And then even with Winter Soldier, you're able to kind of see how he's trying to deal with his past too. So I thought that was
so some of Sam's subplot with his sister, it's like you see what the sister went through, and like obviously like things aren't going to be the same. You disappear for 5 years and you just have to make ends meet.
Thanos snapped away freecreditreport.com. Got rid of it.
Shut up. But you see that
freecreditreport.com. Tell your friends, tell your dad, tell your mom.
Snaps it away, dude. Snap that band away. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't remember what I was gonna say now.
You're talking about Sam and the sister.
Oh, I was gonna say that's what. Again, I'm gonna compare. It's not fair to compare DC and Marvel, but like that's what really separates DC and Marvel. Like Marvel's characters are so human. They're so rooted in like everyday problems. Like it's a good contrast between them fighting like over the top, like larger than life villains, and then having to go back and deal with like a freaking mortgage. But then like DC is just like all fantasy all the time. There's nothing really human or like weighty about their problems. Sorry, go ahead, Kuya.
I was gonna say again. Can you stop, dude? I'm getting so frustrated. I can't fucking.
You're talking about Sam and like the business.
Oh, okay. God, fucking chill, dude.
I've been drinking green tea all day. Sorry, go ahead.
I was trying to say that like with someone that was not snapped, you have to like kind of move on and like make ends meet however you can, because like all of a sudden your support system is just vanished and you're dealing with the grief of like not knowing what happened to your loved one, but also you still have to pay the bills. But for Sam's case, like he comes back and like no time has passed obviously for him, but also like you need a sense of normalcy, because not only did he come back suddenly, but like a big pillar for him is gone too in Steve. So like he's also dealing with his own version of grief and like, oh, I was here and my nephews were babies and now they're grown men, or like little men or whatever he said. So there's a lot of that with they're just disconnected, and he's like, oh, I'm famous, like I can help with like what we need. And then when they go to try to get a loan from the bank, they're like, well, yeah, you're famous, but everything has changed with a lot of people suddenly appearing. Like we don't have the support we can provide for everyone. So the rules are changed. You can't get a loan that easily. And you don't have any like history of whatever. And the sister was like, how can you have a history when you disappeared for 5 years? Like, and he's trying to say like, I have the defense contracts. That's proof of earnings that I can provide, and like it's just they're not going to be able to save their family business, which is a fishing boat. But you still see them, like it looks like they're still packaging up food for like homeless shelters or something. So like even though they're struggling, they're still doing what they can to help other folks, which is like, you know, they just have a very solid upbringing of like just giving, still making a difference in the world. And then on Bucky's side, in terms of making amends, like he said that whole thing with the senator to the therapist, but you see him later going about his daily life, and he's hanging out with someone that's kind of his age. He's 109, but originally
a Japanese World War II vet.
Yeah, originally I thought that vet knew him, like he was one of his old buddies that he connected with. So they go to this sushi restaurant, and the older guy, well, they're the same age, but the Asian man basically asks out the server for Bucky on his behalf.
Yeah, that was
like, what about Pinochle? Like
that was a funny scene.
So Bucky was like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Like, and basically that old man is a part of the neighborhood long enough that the lady knows that he's been struggling since his son died, and he just talks about his son and what he remembers of him, and you find out later that the son is the bystander that Bucky had killed. And the whole the whole thing about not knowing about what happened to your loved ones, like the sister went through, is kind of what that father's still living with, because like he went abroad and they said wrong place, wrong time, but I'll never know what happened to him.
Man. So, and you find out like he started at the bottom with that lady senator, and he goes straight to the top. That's his first name on the list. Probably, I think he's doing it in order of how hard it's going to be to confront those people.
Yeah.
So yeah,
never thought about that.
Yeah. So he definitely he stopped by his apartment at the end of the episode, and then he's like, "Oh, I forgot to pay you
at the end of the date."
Well, it looks like because he left the date abruptly when she started talking about the son again, and it looked like he was like
PTSD flashbacks, dude.
Well, it looked like he was like, I just need to like shit or get off the pot. Like I need to tell him what happened to his son, because I know what happened to his son. I need to execute the steps of like, I'm no longer the Winter Soldier. I'm James Buchanan Barnes. This is what happened.
How does he make amends though? What is he gonna do? He's about to off himself, dude. What can you do?
As soon as the guy opens the door, you still see the shrine of his son, and like he's very
and that's what triggered him.
He's very present in his life. So instead of making that step towards amends, he just like says, "Oh, I forgot. I need to pay you for lunch."
So good. I'm glad that. Oh yeah, you find out in the therapist's office that Sam's been trying to text Bucky, but Bucky hasn't been answering any phone calls. I'm glad that they didn't meet up in this episode. If this was a DC production, Zack Snyder definitely would have had them talking to each other in the first like shot.
In slow motion.
Hey, Bucky, you ready to do this? Yeah, let's go do it with Sam, and then slow motion. Yeah, but like they're holding off, like, and they only have like what 6 episodes of this.
Yeah.
So 5 more.
Yeah, so time is of the essence. They can only tell so much story, and they still didn't have them meet in this episode, which like it's gonna be epic when they do. When they team up finally and they get those team synergies going on. I can't wait to see what I hope we get like more Rhodey and Sam fight scenes, like kind of like in the Wakanda invasion.
Yeah.
Stand back, Sam. You're gonna get your wings singed off. Like just
Oh yeah.
I want some more of that.
And then to the MCU's credit, like you said, it's only 6 episodes, but they still take the time to tell the stories they need to tell. So even with like when they had a whole movie for Homecoming, you still had like, or what was it? No, it wasn't Homecoming. It was the one after that, Far From Home. You still had the whole like, obviously grieving for Tony is gonna be a huge impact on him, but you see the little clips of his school where it's like, this guy is now back. And people suddenly came back. Like they take the time to tell the story that they need to tell, even with that shorter time frame of like either a movie or a 6 episode run. So I really appreciate that. But
what caught me off guard? Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna go back into the recap. So go ahead.
Okay. What caught me off guard is that I thought Sam was gonna pull a Peter Parker and give up the shield to someone he would deem would be a better cap than him. And I thought that's why he was maybe trying to get in touch with Bucky, because he wanted him to do it. Not necessarily because he's more worthy, but maybe because he has like he's more powerful. Maybe
more powerful, but also
and maybe he was friends with Steve, like better friends.
Maybe he feels that he earns it. Like if
that's Steve left it to maybe he's like, this is the way Bucky makes amends. Maybe this is how he heals, by being Captain America and doing more good.
Well, so even at the end of Endgame, when when Steve comes back and then he's old, and then he shows he has that scene with Sam, and then he shows him the shield, and he's like, "Oh, it's yours now."
Yeah.
You can even see Sam. He looks at Bucky.
Yeah.
To me,
like,
it kind of seemed like
yeah.
he's
Don't you
also
want to do
asking
this?
his approval. Yeah.
His approval.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 But for Bucky in that instance, he kind of like does a half smile, and I wonder like if because Steve knows Bucky everything he's gone through, and he knows like his temperament. So I kind of feel like the reason why he gave it to Sam is like this is a younger guy. He isn't as jaded as we are, and I feel
he's like a better.
I feel like he also felt probably like, and this is just my thought process, but I wonder if he was also like Bucky is like he has so much PTSD and so much grief and so much things that he's holding on his shoulders, like he just needs to be done with fighting. Like, you know, I don't know, it's kind of what the therapist said, like you're free, and he's like, free to do what? Like he's too lost in
That was deep
the
too.
past and like dealing with what Hydra made him do, that like I feel like he's too clouded to be the symbol of Captain America. And I feel like Steve kind of knew that, like he needs to deal with his demons, and Sam is ready. So
he was like, you know, Doc, I was playing Mortal Kombat the other day, and I kind of want 2 middle arms. I seen Jax, fucking badass.
aside from those, like it's interesting because the way that they're showing both or telling both stories is that like you have some action-packed scene, so it shows that they're still fighting, or like in Bucky's case it's like a flashback to when he was fighting, and then you show their mundane life, their side stories, and then you go back to the main story of the flag smashers. So Sam basically tells Torres like, keep your ear to the ground, like just keep monitoring anything, and if anything that I need to know happens, let me know. So he told Torres to like just monitor the situation, and like notify me as soon as like action needs to be taken, or if I need to be aware of these people. And instead of just like monitoring it from afar, like on the internet, he actually attends one of the meetings that he's able to locate. And Torres is basically like somewhere in Europe or something, and he asks the person like, hey, what are we supposed to do? And then someone like gathers the whole crowd, and then he just starts handing out masks to people. And so like not really knowing what's going on, Torres grabs a mask and put it on, and then all of a sudden it like
it's an
a
alert
person comes
something.
out of the window, and it looks like he has some kind of super soldier serum, or like he's a metahuman basically, and he jumps out. He has 2 big duffel bags, and he just like starts walking, and then someone yells like, run, in I forget what country they're in because they say it in another language. Oh, Switzerland. So everyone who has a mask is running, because the person who broke out of that window, it turns out to be a bank, and he's also wearing a mask. So they're trying to run distraction, and then he holds out his arms, and 2 other runners take the 2 bags of money, and they start going elsewhere. And on his own, even though he saw this metahuman like super kick someone into the wall and whatever, Torres pulls out a gun, and he's like, I don't know what the jurisdiction is, but you're under arrest.
Yeah,
I can't stand when people do that in movies. They say freeze, and they get closer and closer to him. Like, you're gonna get disarmed, dude. You're supposed
to well, it's not even just disarmed. That dude like freaking like smashed his face in. So Torres gets like really injured in this whole thing, and they kind of just leave him on the floor, and everyone else scatters. And then when he gets back in touch with Sam, he is telling him like I went to this meeting, this is what's happening. He's recording the whole time, so you have kind of like a blurry image of the leader. And so Sam is like, oh, this is not good, and whatever, like, do you have any other information? He's like, everything is dark, so we know who our antagonists are, is this group. And right when you think they're going to go more into like, okay, this is how we're going to more research we're going to do, or like next actions for that plot point, Sam's sister interrupts, walks into the room, and he's like, you got to see this. She turns on the television, and I think it's the Senator of Defense, or Secretary of Defense. He's making a speech about like how we need a new symbol to carry America's values. And this dude comes out. He's like, may I introduce the next Captain America, and tell me why he looks like Marty McFly's dad.
Crispin Glover. I really thought they were gonna get a better looking guy. I know that's really. I'm not trying to look shame. Like,
But
yeah, that dude was.
yeah,
He
but
looks evil.
the shitty part though is like he's wearing a rendition of Cap's outfit, not his high-tech super suit that we last saw him in.
No, that's the U.S. agent.
Yeah, it's like a mix of the U.S. agent.
Yeah, so he's wearing a like a captain suit, but he has the real shield. So they took the shield from the Smithsonian that Sam had donated.
And you can see it instantly on Sam's face. He kind of just like looks down, and he just, you can tell he kind of regrets what he just did, because I mean, obviously he didn't know what they were going to do, but it kind of just played into the kind of the government's hand.
It's like, you're going to replace Captain America? We just lost this guy. It's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, I hope we get to see Steve because he's not dead, right? He's not dead.
No, I thought that maybe Sam was going to attend his funeral, but it was actually the Smithsonian thing. Yeah. But Sam's speech there when he was like,
why can't he go? Sorry. If Bucky is so lonely, why doesn't he just go see Cap a couple times? Like, he's still alive.
He's dealing with his own shit.
He's on the moon, dude.
Unless he jumped back to his timeline to go with Peggy after he gave the shield to Sam. It's not really clear.
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
But Sam's speech at the Smithsonian is in direct contradiction to what the secretary is saying, because Sam, when he gave the shield to the Smithsonian, was saying that like there's not been a symbol greater than Steve, but he's also like was an amazing man, and like just saying that like symbols,
it's not the symbol, it's the man.
Yeah, it's not the symbol. Symbols are nothing without the great people propping them up.
And they just got another symbol with some random dude. You don't even know.
Exactly. But he, like, his speech was also a call to action to like future heroes. So it's not like he's saying like we don't need any symbols, but it's just like you need great people to stand by those values to like symbolize, basically. Like you can't just have like, oh, here's the shield. Like, you know.
He in Sam's speech also, he said something about along the lines of like, we need new suits. I don't know if he has.
No, it was like we need new heroes.
Basically. Oh, is that what? Okay. But yeah, basically, it's not really talking about we need someone to replace Captain America, but that's like exactly what they did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then that's how the episode ends.
Yeah. Which so they revealed the new Captain America, and I forgot what his name was.
Johnny Walker Black, dude.
Johnny Walker Black.
It really is John Walker, though.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was John something. But yeah, so I don't know anything about his story in the comics. Do you know anything, Matt?
I might be mistaken. I should have done research. From what I understand, he was kind of like a harsher Captain America, and then he just fully like rogue. So it's going to be nice to see Sam and Bucky taking the shield back from him. That's going to be great.
Yeah,
because how it's going to look on the surface, like, oh, they're going against Captain America, like, how unpatriotic, but then they're going to be in the right, and it's going to be great to see that unfold. I can't wait to see. We theorized that, remember the chick in the trailer when we first saw it, we thought that was going to be Echo from Daredevil. It's just a Flag Smasher's symbol, but we definitely know that Zemo's still in the story. I hope we get to see Batroc back. I hope we get to see him again. I'm just all for all the old Captain America villains.
Well, and on the other side, not just villains but allies, we know that
Sharon Carter, that's right,
Sharon Carter is going to appear.
Do you guys think that U.S. agent, do you think he is somehow in correlation with the Flag Smashers? Like, do you think he's also super powered, and
he's definitely going to have some kind of serum in him, maybe like the one in like Incredible Hulk where it kind of messes with his mind, maybe, or maybe he's just like
making him more violent, like in the comics.
Or he's just naturally a bad guy and they give him the super soldier serum. So he's definitely going to have some kind of serum if he's going to hold his own against Bucky and Sam.
So in the movies, I know that Sharon Carter had like great fight scenes, but I wonder if they're really going to make her that Iron Patriot. Isn't that what she is in the comics now?
I don't think they're going to jump that far ahead.
I don't know.
Because Iron Patriot's still technically War Machine.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys think the Flag Smashers, obviously we know that they have like superpowers or superhuman abilities. Do you think that has to do with maybe the government or Hydra remaking the super soldier serum, like how they
More Winter
remember
Soldiers?
in
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
With, like, the
Remember we
Kree blood?
had that
Yeah.
the Civil War scene where um they go down, like Iron Man, Captain America, blah blah.
Yeah.
They go down, and then they say that they're all dead. But do you think some escaped, or do you think they
I
made?
think-
I think
enough-
I think
they're
there's
all
more that
dead,
we
but
haven't.
they-
No, I think there's more that we haven't heard of.
Oh,
That's
I-
only the amount that Bucky knows of. Maybe there's more. Maybe there's
That-
different countries doing it.
That's true. I thought that they're all dead, but they use their bodies to extract the serum, like to be able to like basically reverse engineer.
I feel like
whatever
they
it
would
was.
just have more Kree blood on standby, and they would just keep
Oh,
experimenting. Maybe not
okay.
even necessarily the Russians. Maybe it's a different government.
yeah.
So that's gonna be interesting.
Do you guys think, or why do you guys think that the government was kind of they were willing to accept from Sam right away that he doesn't want to take the mantle? Like, why do you guys think that?
Well, it wasn't
Because
the
they were.
government. It was
He
the
wasn't government sanctioned. He was cap sanctioned, but that isn't. I mean, the government's not just gonna be like, oh yeah, it's Captain America's wishes. We'll honor it. No,
Well,
they're gonna
even-
want someone they can control. And Falcon's already been proven to be rogue because he was on the anti-government side during Civil War.
That's true. But I was gonna say, I mean, like he donated it to the Smithsonian. He didn't know that they were going to like take it and arm someone with it. Like it
Yeah.
was it's not like he gave it to the Department of Defense. Like he gave it for history. So
I don't know if this is something that Disney is going to dive into, but I know that there is a comic where they and I forgot his name too, but they did the super soldier serum on an African American guy.
Oh
And
yeah,
so
that's
He was
yeah,
Captain
that's,
America for a while
yeah,
too.
Isaiah Bradley.
Isaiah Bradley, that's what it was.
Yeah,
Mm.
Isaiah Bradley's grandson or nephew, I can't remember which one it was, becomes Patriot, and for the Young Avengers. So yeah,
Do you think that
He has
they're going
serum in his
to
blood.
kind of dive into that, like, and also,
I hope they do. That would be great.
yeah, I hope so too. And I think in one of those comics too, they said in the comics like the U.S. is not ready for a black Captain America. Do you think that also is kind of rooted in this?
That would be deep if they went that way. Like in
Yeah.
That's why
6
I'm saying, like, is
episodes.
that too dark for Disney?
I mean, they
I
could pull
mean,
it off. They've
yeah.
pulled off crazier. So
I
Yeah.
mean, they already, I feel like, are kind of tapping into it with that whole bank scene where like the sisters like, oh, like I know what this is. It's because like not because he's famous, but it's because we're black, basically. But I mean, the whole thing about like the rules changing because of the snap also makes sense. Like, how does the bank start supporting like billions of people that suddenly reappear?
Oh,
like-
that also reminds
And how
me.
do they
too- oh, go ahead.
verify that they but just one last thought. How do they verify that someone trying to claim a loan actually did disappear and aren't just trying to like get money or what, you know? Like-
freecreditreport.com.
Tell your friends, tell your dad, tell your mom. But going back to that bank scene, I don't know if this is how I interpreted it, but the sister, she said something like on the lines of, how are you making it harder for us people? Like kind of
Yeah.
hinting, like black
Yeah,
business.
exactly.
owners.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was thinking, and like how it kind of, is relevant to times now too. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing that they're doing with that.
Yeah. So,
I
yeah.
also liked how they introduced Joaquin Torres, and I don't really know that much about him, but in the comics, he does take up the mantle for Falcon when
Oh, I didn't know that.
Falcon becomes Captain America.
Oh, dope. Nice.
So
That
I
would
think
make
that's
sense.
a cool intro.
Yeah, it would be cool too because in that whole scene where Sam is fixing his tech, like Torres was like, "Oh, if you reroute this, like he also kind of knows
Yeah.
enough about tech that he could help." But he was like, "Whoa, like people keep messing with this. I would rather just fix it on my own." So
Yeah.
that would be a cool nod if that's the direction they're going in.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, we haven't really discovered anything about Zemo or anything like that, but did you see his name on the list that Bucky
Was
had?
it? Oh, I missed it. Was it
so
Zemo?
it was like H Zemo.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, so on that list, other than his groceries that he has to do, he has like names on there where some of them are like, I think it's like people in the comics. There's one person who is like it's like Red Baron or something like that. Red something.
Red Baron, yum.
I forgot what it was, but it has something to do in the comics where he's associated with Bucky's past. There's another person in there. Anyway, it's a lot of people that are actual references, or it's like people who work on the show, something like that. So that's
Saw.
a cool
Trouble Man soundtrack. On the list.
It was kind of cool how he has that list too, because that's kind of like how Steve had his list.
Yeah, it's like a list for Steve to catch up with the times, and a list for Bucky to like make peace with his past. It's really nice what they're doing with that. It's great.
Yeah, it's also kind of like calls back to the era they grew up in, where they have like pocketbooks, like they make actual lists.
Exactly. Used to boil everything.
Yeah. Have a lot of flavor.
I think like one of my theories too is, especially after watching this episode, you find out, you know, the Flag Smashers, they don't really like superhuman people. Like they like things how it was in the blip and stuff. And that's kind of what Zemo's his, what's the word I'm looking for?
MO.
So I think that even though he's a bad guy and he has a weird past with Bucky and everything, I think they're gonna end up working together against Flag Smashers in some type of aspect. But like it'll be, of course,
that'd be crazy if they paired up with the villain to take down the new hero, which is Captain America. That'd be
because it kind of aligns with his MO in a way. So I think we might see that. Hopefully, I don't know.
I did like for Bucky that like his list is not just people that he needs to like, that older gentleman that he needs to make amends for senselessly killing his son, but also like people that he put in power when he was the Winter Soldier, and people who are still committing wrongdoing because like benefiting from the things that he did to make things even worse. So like
he never paid that vendor for that prune in Civil War. He just took off.
But yeah, so it's a mix of like paying for his past sins by like helping people that, because like even the older gentleman, I keep forgetting his name, but he like Yuri, he regularly has lunch with him, he spends time with him. So they're like a lot of people like the waitress who are saying like, it's nice that you spend time with him because things haven't been the same for him since his son. He's kind of closed off and like cranky and stuff like that. So he's like trying to make amends with people that he hurt, and also preventing people that he put in power from hurting more people.
Yeah. Whew. What a great and terrible week. Comic book paraphernalia. Oh my god.
I think the big villain at the end is going to be Mephisto, and he's
gonna be like, my bad truck's back, but you're gonna.
I think this show is going to be kind of a good contrast to WandaVision in a way, where it's like it's kind of like, it is what it is. It's not anything mysterious about it.
Exactly.
But it's still,
I'm so hyped.
Still going to be really good.
Like
but
I said,
the same level, it's still
I need street level. I'm for it.
But on the same level, it's still going to be really poignant. I can't say the word, but it's still going to be meaningful and well written and emotional.
Yeah.
Like they've already gotten us with the whole thing with the son. You see his death, like not him killed on screen, but like him shaking at the door and like begging for his life.
Yeah.
And then you see the toll that it takes on his dad. So like it's still going to hit you in the feelings, but it's going to be more fast-paced action packed.
Yeah, it's like it's a different type of captivation, like compared to WandaVision.
Different type of drama, but still powerful.
Yeah.
So good. Like we were talking about before, like the writing and the quality of these Disney Plus shows is top notch, like movie quality.
Movie even surpassing some movies. So yeah, we're definitely seeing some great stories being told.
The CGI was like the CGI in WandaVision was good, but like you guys said, there's some wonkiness here and there in the fight scene.
I mean, considering that
so
many characters are CGI generated themselves.
Yeah. But the fight scenes in this, like especially like everything with Falcon's.
Falcon, yeah, that's right. I was just gonna say it's just Bucky's arm mostly, but then yeah, you're right with Falcons flying.
Yeah.
This fucking saucy ass suit, so good. Oh my god, wings, dude.
So yeah, next week we will obviously be covering the next episode. What else are we gonna throw out there?
I don't know. Anything else come out? Just looking at Winter Soldier, right?
I don't know. I think that's it.
All right,
Yeah.
because
we
we'll come up. Oh, let's one of you guys come up with the top 5. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Maganda Forever podcast. I'm Monica.
I'm Matt.
Why?
We'll see you next episode. I'm not Wakandan, but my bionic arm enhanced. Just say the words, I'm activated like a Nazi trance. Catch vibranium to your cranium, wanna glance. Full body cast from a Cyclops optic blast. I doubt you crews prepared for this hit. Catch a glimpse of who I'm with, have you scared of the clip? No heart-shaped herbs or any terrigen myths. I'm taking out your ankles on some anti-carrion shit.